Stick around, sailors. I'm stoned. This might be a long one. Someone in my comments mentioned or compared God to the wind, and now I'm thinking about sailing. So I thought I'd share some things about sailing with you guys, because I did race sailboats. I've mentioned it. I raced with the Judd Goldman Adaptive Sailing Foundation, if anyone wants to look them up. I've been to American Yacht Club in New York. My real government name is on a trophy somewhere in a real yacht club with tennis courts, a private beach, and a private fucking pool next to that beach. Why do you have that much stuff? You don't need both, okay? But yeah, I've raced sailboats. I was going to try and shoot for the Paralympics, and then I learned about how terrible the world is and how terrible America looks to the world. And the last thing I want to do is represent this nation on the world stage. But when I raced sailboats here in Lake Michigan, or on Lake Michigan in Chicago, you people, when you're sailing, you learn very fucking fast that no matter what you believe in, no matter how hard you pray, no matter how many offerings you give to Poseidon before leaving the docks, the water doesn't care. The wind and the sea, or the wind and the lake in this case, they don't care, people. When you're on a boat, especially a sailboat, if the wind is going to pick up, it's going to pick up. If the waves are going to go from a nice calm 1 to 3 feet to suddenly 4 to 7 feet in like 4 hours, that shit's going to happen. If it decides to rain, it's going to happen. The water is chaos, and somehow it's incredibly beautiful. It's terrifying as well. You learn to respect it. When I was sailing, you don't know cold until you've been cold on a boat. If you've never been soaked through to the underwear while you're moving, 6-7 knots, the wind is just going all over you. The waves are hitting you in the face. They're splashing over the bow. Like, if you've never been cold and wet on a boat, you don't know what real cold is, my beautiful sailors. And Lake Michigan waves, for those that don't know, Lake Michigan is not like the ocean, okay? Our waves, they're not rolling. Ocean waves, they can get ridiculously big, yes, but they're also like gentle hills, You have one that goes up and another that goes down, It goes up and it goes down. It's a rolling, it's spread out. In the ocean, the waves they're big, but they're spread out. On Lake Michigan, it's a lake. It looks like a sea, but it's a lake, a great lake. And because it's a lake, it is big enough to have like 4 feet, 7 feet, 10 feet. I've heard reports of 12 to 15 foot waves on the NOAA Weather Center. Sometimes I think I think the biggest I've heard was like a 21-foot swell, occasional swell on NOAA Weather Radio. But our waves can get big, but when Lake Michigan waves get big, when Great Lakes waves get big, there's not enough room for them to spread out like the ocean. So it's just you have one after the other after the other. This is why you have so many stories of freighter ships breaking in half on the Great Lakes, because you'll have a wave that comes up and crashes over the bow, and then another one like a second after that, meanwhile the middle of the ship is in the trough between those two waves. This is dangerous water. I've talked to a lot of people who have sailed on the ocean, and they actually say that they're more scared of sailing on the Great Lakes, and they're surprised when I tell them I learned how to sail on Lake Michigan. You learn very fast to respect the water, and like it doesn't play. It doesn't play, and that's why another way that I see God is as water, as wind, because those things they're primal. They can be beautiful and they can be absolute chaos. You just have to be ready for both.